41 at KPEL, and as we have been following very closely for it seems like years now, lawmakers in Baton Rouge have been working on various different bills that started with the special session on the budget, and now in the regular session, and now moving in to the second budget session 2.0.
Yeah.
I'm all wrapped up in that, and not even part of a session. Transportation is what continues to come up. Roads in our state, how we're getting around, tourism in our state, all sort of wraps into the office and falls onto the desk of Sean Wilson, State Transportation Secretary, and he joins us on the phone now. Good morning.
Hi there.
Good morning, Bernadette Lee and Rob. How are you all?
We're doing just great this morning. You know, so here's one thing. I don't think people realize they do when they're driving, right? But they think about their own needs, but they don't think about the other people coming into the state. You know, transportation really does have a huge impact on tourism in our economy. Tourism's the number 2, industry in our state, and it really can have an impact. Would you agree, sir?
Absolutely, I would agree. Folks underestimate the power of roads and the connectivity that it provides, not just to the local community in terms of people connecting and being mobile to different aspects of their community, but it's essential for folks that are going through our community that may stop, make an investment in our economy and move on, or the transportation of goods and services across the interstate. And when you think about major corridors through Lafayette like I-10 and I-49, those are going to be some very significant growth corridors in terms of the economy going forward and move millions and millions of people annually. So they are very important for connecting and keeping our communities mobile and connected to the world greater than Lafayette.
Yeah, certainly. You know, it makes me wonder, too, with all the work they have going on, like in Lake Charles, all the construction they've got going, the different, businesses that are going up in that area. How difficult is it for the transportation department really to think about, okay, well, maybe now we need to focus our resources more on Lake Charles and less maybe on the New Orleans area? Is there much flexibility, or is it hard because of money, though?
It's very good question. It is very difficult because we are not fortunate as some of our other states around the country that have the build it and they'll come mentality.
Yeah.
So because of the fact that the gas tax hasn't been renewed for over 20 plus years, I think it was 1984 and 89 that we created a gas tax that wasn't indexed. Since that time, the cost of construction has gone up significantly. The cost of maintenance has gone up, and the value of the dollar has gone down, although we have driven more. And so when you go out and drive, that's only going to generate a certain amount of money. And when we have a finite level of resources, it's very difficult to go into capacity and build things that are new. And one of the things I like to share with citizens and residents of the state is it's one thing if we go out and build new interstates and bridges. It's another thing if we do not maintain the investments that we've already made, because those are the things that have become a staple in our community, which is why we have to maintain the surface condition on roads like Johnston Street, and you have to maintain bridges that are already built. Because if you don't give them the attention they deserve, they tend to shut down and become difficult to traverse, and that becomes a challenge. So it's not easy, balancing the budget in terms of putting projects and resources all over the state. There are many factors that can be considered.
Yeah,
I will say the one thing about Lafayette and the way that it's built is that if Ambassador is backed up, you have some side roads you can take to get to it. If Johnston Street is backed up, you can go between Congress and Johnston. Tell me, do you guys put any emphasis, or would this fall on local government, to protect the people who do live in between the Congress and Johnston with the constant cut-through traffic? Look, I live on a cut-through street, and I honestly am just so fed up. I almost wish they would put up like a fence on one end or the other. As new places develop, you don't have those sort of through street blocks like we have here. Is that a concern as the state continues to grow and we have new neighborhoods, different places?
Well, it is a concern, and it's something that we take in consideration, because as we build new roads, it's going to pull traffic. As we expand roads and provide greater connectivity and mobility, it will move traffic from one place to the other. With regard to a lot of cut-through streets, I live on a street that connects pretty much University to Evangeline Thruway. and the local government's responsible for those specific roads. And to the citizen, that sounds odd because you don't care who owns the road; you want it to work the right way.
Yeah.
But in reality, I am forbidden in law from spending money on your road to do traffic calming measures like speed tables, rumble strips, speed bumps, or roundabouts like you might have in the Saints area on a couple of streets. I, by law, cannot go out and provide that to you. That's a local government responsibility. And likewise, the local government is not going to come out and widen the interstate completely for us. So when you look at the separation of authority and governance, we are limited, but those are factors that we consider, and I trust that Joel and Tom and your city councilman will be receptive to that and look at a plan perhaps to provide for that, because they've done it in the past. That's what we did in St. Street area several years ago, and some other neighborhoods have similar configurations of traffic patterns to discourage the through traffic or the cut through traffic and focus primarily on a neighborhood so it can be neighborhood friendly.
So you were talking about maintenance and bridge maintenance. Highway 14, the bypass bridge in Abbeville, they're doing maintenance on that today, so it's got to be closed between 8:30 and 3. And we love to complain, Mr. Wilson. We love to complain.
Absolutely.
We get so mad, right? We're so mad when stuff isn't fixed or when it breaks. Then we get so mad when we get stopped in the traffic or we can't go there.
Correct. Well, and I appreciate the plug there in terms of the closure of it, because I think informing citizens and travelers about temporary closures or construction zones is so very important to keeping them safe and helping them maximize the 30 minutes they have to get to work. That's an hour away, right?
Yeah.
So what I would say to folks, if we don't provide this type of maintenance, you could find yourself in a condition that bridge is closed for a long period of time in terms of a replacement. And so that's what we're talking about when you say a preservation first mentality, not preservation only, but preservation first. So it's important for us to keep the bridge functional and maintain it. And guess what? It costs less for me to go out and fix that bridge and maintain it than it will for me to have to replace that bridge. So when we look at our preservation and our maintenance, we look at it in terms of containing costs, managing costs, and maximizing utility. And that's a very important approach, I think. So you're correct. It's going to be closed for the day or so, and then it'll be back to normal. And the thought is that it will last a lot longer than it would if we had not done this closure and repair.
So as we're sort of wrapping up, on the phone, still State Transportation Secretary Shawn Wilson, what is your thoughts as the state legislature mulls over a decision that could allow driver's licenses to be stored, I guess, and carried in an iPhone app in many situations? Obviously, casinos and such businesses would be different because they actually have to swipe the cards. But what do you see as the pros and cons, really, of going in that direction in our state?
Well, I'll tell you, that is all under public safety and motor vehicles, and my friend Karen St. Germain is going to move on that issue, I'm sure. I think technology has to be embraced, and it has to be productive for us, and it will help us be more efficient. I would think some of the things I would be considerate of is what are the risks? What are the identity thefts? You lose your iPhone, you lose your license, and more people, are used to losing phones and having those stolen, perhaps, than they are an ID in a wallet. And so when you look at identity theft and all those things, as we improve our technological security, that's a great thing. And I think there's a potential opportunity there. I don't know if that has to be the only alternative. And from a driving perspective, because the phones have become such an integral part, or I shouldn't say phones, but electronic devices have become such an integral part of the driving experience, I would be concerned most importantly about the safety that it creates in terms of having that, and the take for granted security of who you are, where you are, and what you're doing, and the implications of having your driver's license and everything attached to it on your iPhone. But it may be a way that we can't afford not to go going forward.
Very interesting. Well, our Transportation Secretary, Shawn Wilson, who is actually from Lafayette, joining us this morning, and we appreciate the chance to get to talk with you because I think it gives people a real good insight into how things work and why things are done a certain way, and maybe they can understand. Now, when they hit a pothole, they're still probably going to be mad, But
Absolutely.
But Sean knows our pain.
That's
you know,
right.
he's
I
from
live it
Lafayette. He
every
gets
day. I've been driving to Baton Rouge for 18 years.
Oh.
In fact, I ride my bike through this community. I just got through running in Girard Park, and so I see all aspects of this community, and I share the pain, but I also want to share the progress that we can achieve. And before I go, I want to thank you. Last time I was on, you acknowledged I was a scout leader, and we just had a fantastic po' boy sale, and I want to thank everyone who participated in that. It's going to help our troop get to Woodruff this summer for summer camp. So
That's
we
awesome.
sold and prepared over 800 po' boys, and
Wow.
I think I ate my last one this weekend.
that's awesome.
All right, Sean Wilson, State Transportation Secretary. Thanks for waking up and making some time for us.
No problem. Love to do it. Look forward to talking to you again.
We do too.
7:52
Thanks.
now at KPEL.
So right now, let's double check what's happening in traffic. All right, Landry Road at South Field Span. That's Landry at South Field Span. That's the only traffic crash we have to report to you. There is a stalled vehicle being reported on Johnston Street between Oakview and Ronald Boulevard right by Fatima. So a stalled vehicle on Johnston between Oakview and Ronald Boulevard right in the area of Fatima. So watch out in that area this morning.
I have a measure I'd like to introduce on the show.
A measure?
A measure, yes.
Okay.
The next time Sean Wilson's on our show,
Yeah.
we make him do the traffic.
I love it. That
You
would
need
be
to do
the
the